Well, hi Tubers, hi, I'm back with 6 books in isolation. And literally, the other day I was in my local library, Oxford Library, kudos to them, and I saw this on the shelves, Sleeper and the Spindle by Neil Gaiman, illustrated by Chris Riddell. Now, two top blokes, and I met both of them, not at the same time, which is a shame because they are fantastic, fantastic authors. Let me just read Neil Gaiman's, if you've never heard of him, and if you've never heard of him, here we go. Neil Gaiman has written highly acclaimed books for both children and adults, and is the first author to have won both the Carnegie and Newbery medals for the same work. The Graveyard Book. Many of his works include Coraline and Stardust and have been made into films. He's also written episodes of Doctor Who, one of which won a Hugo Award, and has appeared as himself in The Simpsons. He also appeared in an episode of The Big Bang Theory as well, which I thought was quite nice, when he actually mentions how great Sandman is. And it is. Chris Riddell is a much-loved illustrator and acclaimed visual cartoonist. He has won the Costa Children's Book Award, the Nestle Gold Award, and 2 Kate Greenaway medals. He is co-creator of the hugely successful New York Times bestseller, The Edge Chronicles, author and illustrator of Otterline Books, and works for the Observer newspaper. Okay, now regarding Neil Gaiman, everyone's heard of Neil Gaiman. He's written such. He wrote The Doctor's Wife, which is an episode of Doctor Who. He also wrote Neverwhere, which is an amazing, amazing book and also TV series. He also co-created Good Omens with Terry Pratchett, which was announced the other day. It's going to get series 2 with Michael Sheen and David Tennant as Crowley and Aziraphale, the Angel and Demon. Okay, which is can I just say right now, thank you fanfiction and fanfiction art. Thank you. So it's an amazing, amazing back catalogue of work that he's got. He's kind of dealt into everything, and he's a fantastic, fantastic guy. I'm gonna share this, okay? Because the first time I met him, I didn't realize it was him. Years ago, I was at a signing with Tay Pratchett. I was ready to Discord series as well. One of my first Tay Pratchett signings, and he was there just randomly. He wasn't meant to be there. He was just there, okay? But I met Tay Pratchett, top bloke by the way. Farewell, Ganuso Tay Pratchett. And I met Terry, and Neil was right next to him. I didn't know who he was. I was quite shy, very interested teen. So later, when I read Good Omens, that it dawned on me who he was. And yeah, that was a little bit embarrassing kind of introduction to Neil Gaiman, but I've met Neil, and he's a really, really top guy. So let me talk about The Sleeper and the Spindle. Right, read the blurb. It was the closest kingdom to the Queen's as the crow flies, but not even the crows flew it. You may think you know the story. There's a young queen about to be married. There's some good, brave, hardy dwarves, a castle surrounded in thorns, and a princess cursed by a witch, so rumour has it, to sleep forever. But no one is waiting for a noble prince to appear on his trusty steed here. This fairy tale is spun with a thread of dark magic which twists and turns and glints and shines. A queen might just prove herself a hero if a princess needs rescuing. So it's an adaptation of Sleeping Beauty, which is really, really interesting because one thing I liked about this book is the best fairy tales, the most classic fairy tales, are actually horrible stories. This book was before, okay, they were kind of like, for a better word, Disneyfied, okay, a bit of Disneyfication. The original fairy stories are nasty. The original version of The Little Mermaid, it ends with her becoming sea foam. Okay, she doesn't get a prince in the end. Okay, Beauty and the Beast, pretty much, yeah, pretty much kind of exactly the same thing, but there's more to it than that. So the original fairy stories are actually very, very dark and twisted, and this is no exception. Now it starts off with the dwarves going through the earth, just trying to find a gift for the queen because her wedding's coming up, or she's marrying the prince. So in their hierarchy, she's is in their monarchy, she's in charge. Okay, she's marrying a prince, but for those who know European royalty, if a queen marries a prince, he doesn't become king. It doesn't work like that. Because no one can be more like the royal family, our royal family. The queen married Prince Philip, but he didn't become a king. He was still Prince Philip. And the fact is that his name was Mountbatten, but the House of Windsor didn't become the House of Mountbatten. It reigned the House of Windsor. And because, yeah, as an example. Okay, now the melancholy air running through this book with the illustrations I absolutely loved as well. Okay, and it's very much Chris Riddell's style too. It's kind of the way he creates humans and kind of like dwarves. It's a very, very kind of like lyrical kind of air to it. Let me just read. This is obviously Neil Gaiman's work. The Queen woke early that morning. "A week from today," he said aloud, "a week from today I shall be married." It seemed both unlikely and extremely final. She wondered how she would feel to be a married woman. It would be the end of her life, she decided, if life was a time of choices. In a week from now she would have no choices. She would reign over her people, she would have children, perhaps she would die in childbirth, perhaps she would die as an old woman or in battle. But the path to her death, heartbeat by heartbeat, would be inevitable. This is the Queen's point of view. This is the Queen looking over her marriage to her prince with a melancholy air. This is the end of my life. This is final. And now my choices are limited. Even though I'm a ruler, my path is now more set in stone. Yeah. Then she hears rumours from her dwarfs. Okay, well, not her dwarfs, but dwarfs who are coming to visit her about this kingdom next to her where everyone has fallen asleep. Everyone is just still and they're alive, but they are asleep. Now, this is obviously the tale of Sleeping Beauty, okay, which you don't know the original story. Actually, in this, she's 18, not 16, okay. Finger on a spindle, spinning wheel, falling basically asleep until true love's kiss, the prince kind of thing, okay. And one thing I liked, in a way, is that the fact is that the people who are not important are not even within the text. Like, you would think the queen hearing about this princess locked up in a tower would send for someone else. But she's like, she sees it on the opportunity. She takes it for herself. She's going to kind of solve this. Okay? Right. So, here we go. After she finds out, she's like, "I'm afraid," said the queen, "there'll be no wedding tomorrow." She called for a map of the kingdom, identified the village closest to the mountains, sent messages to tell the inhabitants to evacuate to the coast, or risk royal displeasure. She called for her first minister and informed him that he would be responsible for her kingdom in her absence, and that she'd do his best not to lose it, not to break it. She called for her fiancé and told him not to take on so, and that they would still be married, even if he was a prince, but she a queen. As she chuckled him beneath his pretty chin and kissed him until he smiled. She called for a mail shirt, she called for her sword, she called for provisions and for her horse, and then she rode out of the palace towards the east. What's interesting is no one's named in this book, because that actually gets a nod. Okay, there's nice bit of self-referential humour going here. Okay, right. The Queen had a name, but nowadays people only ever called her Your Majesty. Names are in short supply in this telling. Okay, and that's the illustration of the Queen in her armour. Here you go. So, yeah, this is a book very, very kind of centred toward women, by the way. And then, within the tallest tower and the tallest keep, where the figure lay sleeping, is an old woman who's just keeping watch over the kind of environment, okay, just going about her day. She's been alone for 60 years, so 78 by this point, and she just keep an eye on the provisions. And this is where, spoiler here, the twist in the tale comes in, okay, the subversion of the traditional form, right. Right. Because when after the queen gets through the castle, the people who were sleeping kind of come back to life as a form of, they're not dead, but they're walking in slumber kind of thing. And to come after her, but they're quite easy to escape from, okay? She comes across the sleeping princess, and then this happens. Wow. Now, this kind of thing, I mean, a typical to fairy tale princesses kind of, well, characters kind of falling in love. There was Mulan and Red Riding Hood in, what was that show? In Once Upon a Time, which I never saw the end of actually, but as an example, okay, so I like this, okay, how to do true love's first kiss, okay, well, the queen just does it herself, okay, and it works. But then there's a subversion coming in. It's very, very clever, because you think, fine, it is a gay retelling of Sleeping Beauty, okay, which is absolutely genius, incidentally. And actually, that did happen once upon a time too, but this book came out a couple of years earlier than that, I think. So, look about 2014. There you go. So, that's a very, very nice version. And that's very, very clever. But then you find out who the Queen really is. Well, there were hints, okay? But this bit here, okay? I slept for a year in a glass coffin, said the Queen, and the woman who put me there was much more powerful and dangerous than you could ever be. She is Snow White. Snow White and Sleeping Beauty. Now, what is interesting is the original version of Snow White is Snow White's ending doesn't end with the prince kissing her. It ends with Snow White, the actual poison apple was lodged in her throat, and she pulled it back up, and that revived her. Okay, and then Disney decided to take Sleeping Beauty, that's a traditional fairy story, and then just kind of do that ending, okay, with True Love's Kiss. So I like that. I thought it was very, very clever. The fact is that it doesn't actually say how Snow White, let's call it by that, woke up. It's just the fact in this case she knows. And the fact is that obviously with her waking, obviously the prince must have something to do with this, but the fact is that she's not really interested in the prince, so that means that she was interested in him all along. So she wakes Snow White, sorry, she wakes Sleeping Beauty, but it's not Sleeping Beauty. The old woman who's been going about the castle is Sleeping Beauty, and the woman who's been asleep is the witch, lying there, just basically with people asleep, just kind of pulling on their lives, keeping herself alive. Right, here we go. And that, and the thing is, Snow White figures it out just from the look in her eyes. There you go. Right. You're not without blood, she said, but you have some of the skill. She smiled and smiled innocent girl who has woken on spring morning. All in the world will not be easy, nor maintain order among those of the sisterhood who survived into this degenerate age. I will need someone to be my eyes and ears to minister justice, to attend to things when I'm otherwise engaged. I will stay at the centre of the web. You will not rule with me, but just beneath me. You will still rule and rule continents, just a tiny kingdom. She reached out a hand and stroked the Queen's pale skin, in which the dim light of the room seemed almost white as snow. The Queen said nothing. Love me, said the girl, all will love me. And you, who woke me, you must love me most of all. Because you kissed me with true love's first kiss. So you must love me most of all. And but then the version comes in where the real Sleeping Beauty, okay, plunges the spindle into the witches, the enchantress, everyone, the fairies' heart, and kills her. Now that she's awake, she has an element of vulnerability. Essentially, the real princess waited for so long to have her curse broken by someone like Snow White. It's clever. It's very, very clever. And the illustrations, as I said, are absolutely stunning. But the ending as well is the fact is that obviously Snow White obviously was mentally abused by her stepmother, with the dwarves, wasn't asleep for all this time, and living a life which she didn't want. So instead of going back to her kingdom and ruling with her husband, who is never even seen or even in an illustration, either the townspeople are, because he's not important, and he's not important to her, she goes off with the dwarfs. She's done. She is done, but it's not done in a way which is positive. As I said, the melancholy air running through this book is so strong. She's walking away not knowing that she's making the right choice, but she's making her choice. And that's where the cleverness in this book comes in. That's what makes it brilliant. Right, here we go. Yes, said the Queen. She said nothing but sat on the moss beneath an oak tree and tasted the stillness, heartbeat by heartbeat. There are choices, she thought, and when she sat long enough, there are always choices. She made one. The Queen began to walk, and the dwarfs followed her. You do know about head and east, don't you? Said one of the dwarfs. Oh, yes, said the Queen. Well, that's all right then, said the dwarf. They walked to the east, or for them, away from the sunset, into the lands they knew and into the night. She's just walking away. This book is clever. It's so melancholy, but I like it. I like the fact, okay, that Snow White, who basically, however she woke up, is with this prince who she's not wanting to marry, but it's kind of how life has been decided, has taken it into her own hands. And the best thing is that the thing is, after Sleeping Beauty, okay, that's what I've got another name, kills the witch, Snow White just leaves. No one's ever going to really want to come to know the truth about what happened. Okay, because in the melee, um, Sleeping Beauty sort of lost her life and was left behind. So no one's ever going to really know what happened. But that's where the fairy stories come from, I guess. So, I liked it. The Sleeper and the Spindle is a very, very clever book by Neil Gaiman. And obviously Chris Riddell illustrations, because, hey, well done. And sign off here, 6 books in isolation. Take care, everyone. Bye now.